What defines your visual identity? How do you ensure your work leaves a lasting impression? What tools do you rely on to elevate your storytelling to the next level? Film emulation. What a powerful concept. It is not just about applying a preset and calling it a day. It is about diving deep into the art of cinema, understanding the nuances and letting those classic filmic styles inspire your vision. When you really study and internalize these techniques, you unlock the potential to craft a look that is uniquely yours, one that truly resonates with the story you're telling. I think this is where filmmakers and colorists can truly stand out, by mastering the art of film emulation, to bring their projects to life in a way that is both authentic and unforgettable. But here's the thing, having the right tools makes a huge difference in achieving that filmic look. And today, I'm gonna talk about one of those tools, Dehancer Pro, a film emulation plugin that's become essential in my own workflow. But before getting into that, let's take a step back and talk about why we even want to emulate film in the first place. The answer is simple, because film just looks awesome, right? There is something about that analog film that gives us this rich, organic feel, something that most digital sensors just cannot replicate. Film brings a whole set of unique characteristics to the table. That gorgeous halation around highlights, the subtle bloom, the texture of film grain, and those beautifully curved tones. But if film looks so good, why don't we all just shoot on film? Well, here is the catch. Shooting on film is incredibly expensive, and the workflow can be a logistical nightmare. So it's simply not feasible for most of us. But we don't want to give up those incredible characteristics and settle for a clinical, overly sharp digital image, right? So how do we blend the best of both worlds, keeping the convenience of digital while still capturing that filmic cinematic magic? That's where film emulation steps in. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today, using a powerful tool that I've been exploring myself. This isn't just a one-click filter, it is a comprehensive solution that helps you bring that analog charm into your digital footage. And in doing so, I'm going to push this tool to its limits by doing all my grading using only Dehancer Pro. I know this is going to be different from my usual workflow, but it will teach you this tool extensively so you can better integrate its features and tools into your own workflow. And before we move on to the tutorial, please understand that my goal here isn't to push a product on you. As a matter of fact, I did share tutorials showing you alternative ways to achieve similar results without Dehancer Pro, which you can find in the link above. But in this channel, I try to share with you exactly how I approach film emulation in my own workflow, and Dehancer is an essential part of it. After all, it is about finding what works best for you and using it to enhance your storytelling. But that being said, after watching it, if you find that this tool fits into your process, I've got some good news. You can now use the promo code MEDIAB10 to get a 10% discount. Using that code will help support my channel so I can keep bringing you more content and sharing my knowledge in future videos. So stick around, because we are about to dive deep into what makes film emulation so essential and why this tool might just be the perfect solution to achieving that cinematic feel in your own projects. Let's dive in. Okay, first let's apply the Dehancer Pro plugin to our first node. As you can see, when you first apply Dehancer Pro, several features are activated by default. While this process can be helpful, I prefer to start with a clean slate. But before doing that, let's make our interface cleaner and more manageable by collapsing all the configuration groups. To do that, we'll hold down the Option key on our keyboard and click on one of these toggles. It collapses them all at once. Now let's go to the very bottom of the Dehancer panel and you'll see the option to disable all tools. Let's turn it off. This gives us a fresh starting point to build our own look. Before we dive into adjustments, let's also make sure we are working in the best possible quality. This ensures that we get the sharpest details and the richest colors as we start our grading. Now we can go back to the top and manage our color space using the input settings in Dehancer. We will do by choosing the camera that was used to shoot this footage, which is Red Komodo. Next, we could adjust the exposure to set a solid foundation for our grade. However, I prefer to handle exposure adjustments after applying a vignette, as it can influence the exposure in the corners of our image. Let's scroll down and find the vignette tool and enable it. Here, for precise control, I start by turning off the feathering. This allows us to see the exact edge of our vignette, making it easier to adjust the size accurately. Once we are happy with the size, we'll turn the feathering back on to blend it smoothly into the scene. Before we adjust the exposure, let's also apply my preferred print film look, Kodak 2383, as it will also affect the exposure. You'll find this under the print section here, but I generally find this effect a bit too strong, so to make individual adjustments on its strength, let's apply it in another node. Again, we'll start by disabling all tools and changing the quality to high in this new node. Now let's enable our print film look. To fine-tune the intensity of our print film effect, we'll adjust the global output level. Simply lower it until we achieve the desired look. Here we can also adjust the target white. I want it a little on the warmer side for this footage. Also, it looks a bit too saturated, so let's make that adjustment here. Lastly, you may want to experiment with the analog range effect here to see if it enhances your visual storytelling. For this particular footage, I'll keep it turned off. Now, let's circle back to our first node and fine-tune the exposure. Given the cinematic look we are building, I'm going to lower it slightly. We can also tweak the temperature and tint here to further refine our image's mood. Also, adjusting these settings will help us dial in the exact color balance we're aiming for. Now we can take a big step towards achieving that authentic film look by selecting a film profile. Luckily, Dehancer Pro offers over 60 film profiles, each carefully crafted to replicate various classic film stocks. You'll find famous Kodak Vision looks and many more here. For this project, I'm going with Fuji Color C200. I think this one is perfect for capturing vibrant colors with a subtle contrast, which I think ideal for the mood we're aiming to create in this scene. Okay, let's toggle it on and off to see the transformation. Looking much more cinematic already. In the film developer section, you can make contrast adjustments. But for this footage, I'm already happy with the contrast, so I'll skip this one. Next, let's explore the film compression tool. I really like this tool because it helps to mimic the dynamic response of film, compressing the highlights and shadows in a way that adds depth and richness to the image. Moving on, let's take a look at the expand tool, which is excellent for adjusting the black and white points in our image. Here, to gain a better understanding of this adjustment, Dehancer includes a handy monitor tool located towards the bottom. Let's enable it. Notice how it immediately highlights areas where blacks and whites are clipping. I really love this tool. Now we can fine-tune those blacks to ensure they are rich and detailed, but without losing information in the shadows. Alright, since we've already applied the film look, I'm gonna skip the print section and move on to the color head section where we can get creative with our color adjustments. By playing with these color sliders, you can fine-tune your desired look. You can also adjust colors in the shadows, midtones and highlights separately to create a split toning effect that adds depth and character to your image. Alright, let's see the difference. I think it's looking great. For the film grain effect, I prefer a subtle touch, so I'll switch to custom mode and lower all the settings until I achieve the perfect level of grain for my look. I'll apply the same approach to the halation and bloom effects. I find Dehancer's tools to be far superior to Davinci Resolve's built-in ones, especially when it comes to film grain, halation and bloom effect. I think they're more organic, film-like quality that adds a richer texture, enhancing the overall look with a more natural feel. And there it is, a film look we've crafted using only Dehancer Pro tools. I think this was a good example showcasing the powerful, nuanced capabilities of Dehancer in achieving a truly cinematic result. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future content. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.